We welcome Baylor representatives to the stage, student-athletes Makai Mason and Jared Butler and Coach Scott Drew. We'll follow our normal protocol by asking Coach Drew to make a brief opening statement. Then we'll turn it over to questions for the student-athletes. We'll remind you to hail a microphone. When you have a question, we'll get one to you, and if you can direct your question into the microphone and to a specific student-athlete, that's helpful. And when we've exhausted those questions, we'll turn it over to questions for Coach Drew. So we'll ask Coach Drew for his brief opening statement. Coach?
Well, we knew it was going to be one of those games where we thought we could get looks if we executed, and then it was really important that we knocked down shots. And we made shots, and that makes the offense work a lot better against his own. So 16 for 34, they say you got to have good guard play to win in March, and we're blessed to have very good guard play, and they make us coaches look good.
Questions for Makai Mason and Jared Butler?
For both of you guys, yesterday we all talked to Syracuse about their zone, and the players were saying, there's nothing like our zone. It's different. We're longer than other teams. You can't prep for it. But you guys play a zone sometimes. I know you haven't used it as much this year. So why did that play a big role in you being so confident and taking so many threes that it was something you were used to?
Jared, let's start with you.
You're right, and their zone's different, and I think our zone's very different. And I just think our mentality going into the game that we had to make shots was important. And we know when we play zone and guys just hit tough shots, it's kind of heartbreaking. So, we had that same mentality going into this game, and we had to lock down on defense. But like they said, the zone is different. They make you think, but I think our aggressiveness and our wanting to shoot the ball really helped us a lot.
Makai?
Yeah, I think the fact that we play zone definitely helped us in this game. Just being able to go against that and practice every day with our guys flying around. We're used to those kind of shots, those kick-out threes. So I think that definitely helped us tonight. But, yeah, they have great length across the board. Sometimes it's tough to get in the high post. I thought we did that well at times, and that really helped us.
Nick Anazales, KCN, for both of you guys. Can you just describe the win for Baylor Nation? The crowd was loud, and you guys were going like two heavyweights toe-to-toe, but you guys ended up pulling it out. But just describe this win for you guys.
Makai?
It was pretty special, honestly. Being picked 9th in the Big 12, we kind of harp on that a lot these days. So we kind of got that underdog mentality. We're not backing down from anybody. And, so that's kind of the reason why, we're able to stay calm in those big moments. We know we're sticking together, and at the end of the day, we ain't supposed to be here. And, we're just happy to be moving on.
Jared?
I just think we've been through a lot all season, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of doubtfulness. But I wanted to say this, that, these guys, they stuck together. We stayed together, even through 4 losses back-to-back. So, these guys are special. Everybody believes in Coach Drew and the coaching staff. So, man, I think we deserve this in a way. So, it's big time.
Again, for both of you, how many three-point shooting contests have the two of you participated in, and did it feel like that the first half? Each team only attempted 5 twos, and I noticed when you guys came on the floor to warm up for the second half, no one was even taking shots in the paint. It was all outside the arc.
Jared doesn't want to talk about her three-point contest.
Let me tell you this.
He doesn't want to talk about
in the first half, you expect Makai to hit at least 5 threes. Makai, when he comes out in the first half, is butter. But in the second half, I had to get him. I had to hit a couple, and ones, took a couple threes. But yeah, he's a great shooter, man.
But yeah, it was fun just to go back and forth with them. We weren't expecting them to hit shots like that. They're hitting some tough ones, and we just hung in there and was able to pull it out.
Brooke Bednar's KXXV, you both talked a lot about just now your three-pointers and how big of a momentum swing that was for you guys. But you both hit threes, and then you turned around on defense and took big charges. Can you talk about, I know both of you again, talk about just how much that means for your team to have that impact on the defensive side as well?
Hey, that's a great question.
Makai actually leads the team in charges. We actually stat the charges after every game, and try to get the most charges for a pair of shoes, low key. But you know, Makai, he does a great job, and I want to be just like that when he takes charges. He gets the team riled up, and any way I can, you know, get momentum swings and get the good players in foul trouble, I'll try to do. So Makai, he's taught me how to take some charges. I'm not gonna lie.
JB's got 3 more years to get to that charge level. But yeah, it just shows our mentality, our toughness. You know, we're not trying to celebrate threes. We're just trying to make the next play. That's big for us.
All right, we have time for one more question for the student athletes.
Do you guys have any thoughts on Gonzaga? Have you watched them at all this year? Did you watch them at all earlier?
I've watched just being a college basketball fan. You know, I know they're a great team, great solid team, but I feel like every team can be beaten in March. So, you know, we're going to prepare just like any other team, scout, you know, look at their tendencies and, you know, their best players. So, you know, we're going into it just like we're playing another team. I'm not saying Gonzaga's not good or they're amazing, but, you know, we're level-headed going into it.
Spencer Linton, KSL, Salt Lake City. This question is for Makai. You beat Baylor in 2016 in the NCAA Tournament.
Today was better.
Now, yeah, I figured as much. Now you've won with Baylor. How would you compare and contrast the feelings of those bookend tournament wins?
Yeah, both are very different, but both are special for their own reason. When I was at Yale, I don't think we'd been in the tournament for like 64 years. And obviously we were, you know, a huge underdog going into that game. And then, you know, with Baylor, just to, you know, basically miss the last 2 years, just go through all that physically and mentally, just to come out here and have a chance to compete against the best, you know, going into March Madness. You know, you can't write a better story, really.
All right, we'll let the players go, and once they've left the stage, we'll turn it over to questions for Coach. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Makai. Questions for Coach Drew.
Scott, what were you thinking the first half when you guys are just trading threes? Were you enjoying it, or were you thinking, gosh, maybe we could put the ball in the paint occasionally?
Well, I'm an offensive coach, so I liked it. But defensively, obviously, when you're making shots like that and you're not getting separation, that's frustrating. So I liked what we were executing on offense, but defensively, I thought we needed to be better. And really credit Syracuse for making a lot of shots and some tough shots. And we had some defensive breakdowns. And Coach Boeheim always has his team executing at a high level. And you can't have breakdowns against a good team.
Matthew Weasel there, Citrus TV. Coach, Buddy Boeheim's been a big three-point shooter for Syracuse this year, and in all of the three-point shooting, he did not hit a single one. What was the game plan on him to stop him from hitting threes today?
Well, I think you can see his influence on the court because people spend so much time, it opens up other people, very similar to Makai. Sometimes Makai doesn't score, but other people get a lot of great looks because he's on the court, and Buddy's the same way. You have to pay so much attention to him that it makes it easier for other guys, and he spaces the floor to give them room to operate too.
More questions for Coach?
Coach, I just wondered if that was part of the game plan to go against their zone to shoot that many threes and going in.
Actually, I told them they could shoot 40 today. So I did want to make 25, though. So we were a little short on both fronts.
Have you watched Gonzaga at all this year, Scott? Did you see any other game, or were you just in the locker room prepping for Cuse today?
Can you repeat the question?
Have you seen Gonzaga at all this year? Have you watched them?
We have 2 guys on our staff from their program. So I think they called them and made sure they didn't change any of their play calls. And anyway, we got so much respect for their program. Coach Few does such an amazing job, and those guys compete at such a high level. But I know we'll be very familiar with their program, and they're familiar with ours because we've played against each other, we've scrimmaged against each other.
Coach, in a tournament format like this, how long does the feeling of euphoria of surviving and advancing last before you have to try and put that in the closet and then turn all of your attention to Gonzaga in a unique format setup?
Once I get back to the locker room, it's all on the Zags. So that's that's the tough thing is you can't really celebrate a win, especially in that first game when you play so quick.
Last question.
Coach, you know, Makai mentioned about being underdogs the whole year. Injuries happen, piling up, and, you know, you come in on a 4-game losing streak. How satisfying is this win after everything you guys have gone through this year to come out now on top and go into the round of 32?
I think one thing that's safe to say in any college program is you're going to face adversity and you're going to have to persevere because, I mean, everybody gets banged up and everybody faces tough games and challenges each and every year because, you know what, when you deal with people, you have issues. And one thing that I can tell you is this year we've been blessed to have outstanding leadership with Jake, King, and Makai. And they've always done a great job in keeping the locker room and making sure everyone is focused on the right things. And then you got to credit the whole team for having great chemistry to support one another. Because when you lose, a lot of times fingers come out and you're pointing blame, and we really haven't done that. And that's why we've been able to achieve what we've been able to achieve. When I mean, all logic would tell you you're picked ninth. You only have 3 returning lettermen. You lose your best player at that time, who was so dominant on both ends of the court, and you really got to credit the guys for playing with a lot of joy and really sacrificing for each other.